Hey guys, welcome to another video. As you see at the start of the video, I've got a description, kind of contents, what I'm going to go through the video. If you want to skip all of this talking and just go straight to the pretty graphs and all the lines and numbers and whatever, you can check that in the description, or I'll just post it again at the end of the video. But for those of you that just want to kind of listen to me talk on and you just click away and do your own thing, cook your dinner, or you're playing a game or doing something else on the computer, that's fine. You can just keep listening. And so yeah, I'll dive right into it. Now this video is about socket 1366, 1356, 2001, and 2001-3. Now I'll start off by saying, choosing any one of these platforms new, like you're buying the CPU, RAM, motherboard, and whatever, hard drive, power supply, whatever, all new, is not really going to be worth it if you're after anything price performance per watt, you know. If you go with something like a Ryzen system, you might get similar performance, might get a little bit better performance, it'll cost a little bit more, but it'll save you in the long run due to power bills and whatnot. So I won't judge you if you go and buy a new one just for fun, or you just think it's going to be good value for money, you don't pay too much for your power. That's entirely up to you. Just my suggestion, if your power is expensive, try and get something new. Older stuff, they're just really inefficient with power. So anyway, I'll start off right now by saying overclocking is not really a thing with these boards. I'll be talking about Chinese boards because they are the new boards that have come out for older platforms. Like the older boards that you can buy during the time of the CPU releases, those ones generally can overclock. So you both need the motherboard that can overclock and the CPU that supports overclocking. So brands like Asus, MSI, ASRock, and whatever, those guys would pretty much all support some sort of overclocking, whether it's the BCLK overclock or just, you know, normal stepping. But a few of these Chinese boards, they can support overclocking, but they weren't really designed for that. So you probably want to chuck a fan, just pushing air across the VRM so it doesn't get too hot. Just something like that, because if you don't have anything moving the hot air, it's just going to sit there and just like that. But if you just blow on it, the temperature will drop so much, you know. Just having a big fan, big quiet fan, just circulating air around, will really help. So anyway, on to the comparisons. Each of these will operate on their own socket, so they're not all interchangeable with each other. You can't put the 1366 CPUs on the 2011 CPU socket because it just won't fit and it's not compatible. So that's that out of the way. Now, to make things easier with DDR3 ECC memory, I'll just talk about the server CPUs because they all supported the memory controller on the CPU. Now, with socket 1366, sometimes called the X58 platform, you have support for up to 6 cores, hyper-threaded CPUs, and overclocking, again, dependent on the CPU and dependent on the motherboard. The CPU support triple channel memory, that's 3 channels, so CPU supports triple channel memory. Your motherboard also needs to some way support triple channel memory. What does triple mean? Triple means 1, 2, 3. So what do you need on your board? You need 1, 2, 3 memory slots. You can't just buy one of those you can't just buy a Chinese motherboard with 2 RAM slots, and of course I'll find something that's advertised triple channel memory but only having 2 memory slots on the board. But yeah, you need to keep an eye out for that. Anyway, they're cheap and they're really power hungry. So again, back to the, if you have cheap power or you don't mind about the power bill, then go ahead, buy one. So yeah, if electricity is expensive, it's probably not the first choice for you. Good choice from the CPU lineup is the X5675. X5675 is a good price initial price to performance ratio. So the next step up is like a whole lot more expensive. Like X5670 is like here, X5675 is here, X580 is like here. So just for a little bit more performance, you need to pay a whole lot more money, so better just go like that. Anyway, and it supports PCIe 2.0. Now, most motherboards, new motherboards today, support PCIe 3.0 and now 4.0. Now, what does it mean, PCIe 2.0? If your GPU is running at PCIe 2.0 16x, that's the same as running your GPU on a PCIe 3 at 8x. So it's just like half 3.0 bandwidth. You might find it fine with some like mid, lower end GPUs. You won't find much of a bottleneck, if any. So yeah, you're not pairing a 10-year-old CPU with a 2-year-old GPU. That's nonsense. Next is one of my favorite price-wise. The 1356 has triple channel memory and supports a smaller range of CPUs. The highest core count being 10 cores, hyper-threaded, so that's 10 cores, 20 threads. And some boards support USB 3.0 and even M.2 slot, which can be booted from in some cases. Now, I think of this platform as a bridge between the 1366 and the 2001 platform, because that has features from, you know, the next platform and the older platform. So anyway, a good choice for this platform CPU wise is the E5-2450 version 2. It offers 8 cores, and again that's hyper-threaded, 16 threads at 2.5 GHz. Now the initial base frequency is quite low, but it can boost 5 or more cores up to 2.9 GHz, 4 cores at 3 GHz, 3 cores at 3.1 GHz, 2 cores at 3.2 GHz, and single core turbo of 3.3 GHz. So it's turbo kind of stepping. As long as the CPU remains in a good temperature, the CPU will be like, oh, I can turbo, it's fine, I got this, I got a lot of heating headroom, so I can turbo. And it supports PCIe 3.0. Now the 2011 socket, sometimes referred to as the X79 platform. This has a very large range of CPUs to choose from, up to 12 cores and 24 threads. These CPUs can be very power hungry depending on the core count. The E5-16XX and the E5-16XX version 2 both can be overclocked on certain motherboards. The rest cannot in any meaningful way, but that is okay. You can browse a large selection of supported CPUs, decide whether you require cores over frequency, and go from there. Now, an excellent balance of the two will be something like the E5-2667 version 2, the E5-2673 version 2, or the overclockable E5-1660 version 2. These CPUs support quad channel 1, 2, 3, 4, so again you need 1, 2, 3, 4 slots on your motherboard, and your motherboard to be friendly with 4 channel memory, SATA 3.0, USB 3.0, PCIe 3.0, and some boards even have an M.2 slot that can be booted from. Alright, now there are some OEM CPUs from that series, and you might find that the OEM CPUs will be similar to something that you're after, but really hard to find. Now, I have found some, and they have turned out to be a bit cheaper than the regular mainstream CPUs available to normal people like you and me. Now onto the 2011-3 socket motherboard, also known as the X99. Today is not really economically viable because if you buy it all new now, you will not get your price per performance and your performance per watt. No way, not even close. I would wait a few years down the track until these just get thrown out of wherever they are, data centers, whatnot, and flooded onto the market just like the other platforms. Having said that, I'll go on to what this platform is all about. There'll be a hard cut there and probably some picture. You need to use DDR4. It supports quad channel and you pretty much got the same naming scheme as a 2011 socket. Except at the end of the CPU name you have version 3 or version 4, for example. 1660 version 3, 1660 version 4. You get a few more maximum cores to choose from. You can have 22 cores, 44 threads. Again, you decide what your preference is, whether you want more cores or more frequency. And a good choice is the same CPU I suggested last time, the E5-2667 version 4. It is a very good balance between cores and frequency. Now another thing about this platform that is unique is some motherboards, I'm not sure the Chinese motherboards yet, but some motherboards you can change the microcode in the BIOS. And so if you remember me talking about turbos in the 1366 platform, for example, I said 5 cores at 2.9 GHz, 4 cores at 3 GHz, 3 cores at 3.1 GHz, and so on. So basically 4 cores, more frequency, 3 cores, higher frequency, 2 cores, higher frequency, 1 core, highest turbo frequency. Now, what this microcode edit does is it sets all the cores to the highest turbo frequency. So instead of having just 5 cores at 2.9 GHz, you will have 8 cores at 3.3 GHz. So yeah, again, setting all the cores to maximum frequency, maximum turbo the whole time, you get a lot of performance, but you also consume a whole lot more power. Now, I think this is part of the reason why this platform is still expensive, because you can get a whole lot more performance out of these older CPUs. But yeah, again, it's not really viable to buy it new today. So you get all the same features as the 2011 platform. You get PCI 3.0, you get USB 3.0, you get SATA 3.0, you get M.2, no 3.0. So over each generation, you get a few CPU instructions added. So I'll throw them up on the screen here, and you can have a quick read about them. Things like AVX and ADS. You get things like more cache, better instructions per clock. Sometimes that's more important than actual frequency. And I'll show you another nice chart on the screen right now reflecting that. You could also say each generation is a straight upgrade from the previous generation. If you're after just a simple gaming machine, you probably take an X58, strap something like an RX 470, 580, something like that, a cheap R9, or even a GTX something 60, something 70, 960, 970, 750 Ti maybe, and yeah, you'll get some fairly decent 1080p gaming. I wouldn't say everything ultra 1000 FPS, but you know, you'll get what you pay for, and that will really reflect that. So yeah, again, check back on some of the slides I've included in the video. Check the description for a few more benchmarks, synthetic benchmarks, real world benchmarks, comparisons, and whatnot. Like, comment, subscribe, you know, all that normal YouTube-y stuff that people say nowadays. And yeah, thanks for watching. See you in another one. Signing off.